Welcome to Screen Chat, live from the Media Hub on RiotRadio.ca. What if we got Gilmore Girls star Chance Crawford to be Nightwing? Can you see that happening? This show discusses all the latest Marvel movies.
I think we know he's gonna bond the adamantium back to Wolverine, which might get him to be the Horseman of War.
And the latest DC Comics. He's pitched that he wants to be this universe's Dick Grayson.
That's terrible. Like, I could do a better job probably.
With takes on the latest Star Wars adaptations.
Do you care if people don't like it? And the director was like, no, I don't really care if you don't like it. I don't care if you don't like the show. I don't care about the Star Wars universe. And all I want to say is, why are we hiring somebody who doesn't care about what they're making?
And much, much more.
I think this is my favorite Final Fantasy.
Okay, I like to hear that.
It's just so well done and so good.
And whatnot. That is actually the opening scene of 1999.
That is
like,
amazing.
Come on, right? Like,
for a new sci-fi movie, I've seen a lot of bad movies recently, and this one is not bad by any means.
Join us every Friday on Screen Chat for a fun time, beautiful day. So make sure you go out, enjoy your F&F Fridays, where you know the vibes. Some good laughs.
You were like, oh, you can't have Jensen Ackles because he's Soldier Boy, but you couldn't have Nightwing because he could be the Deep. Like, don't do this to me. Don't play this game.
And great hot takes all about pop culture. We have the one and only Sonic 06, the most underappreciated video game in human history. And I'll die on the hill. So we will see you guys then. Eldon, are you ready?
Justin, I think I'm ready. So, are you ready?
Oh, I'm definitely ready for this.
Okay.
Welcome to Screen Chat, live from the Media Hub on RiotRadio.ca. I'm your host, Justin, and we have a really fun episode today for you guys. I'm really excited for this. I will say, though, just want to address the elephant in the room. It's another day, another tarp. I realized that the last 3 episodes that we have done, I've worn a hockey jersey. So had to continue the trend today because we are going to be talking about Daredevil. I don't have a Daredevil graphic tee, but I do got red, so that's the goal for today. Also, to get a fresh trim, you know, the vibes. Thought I'd point that out. But as you guys know, Screen Chat is your show all about the latest Marvel movies, DC Comics, Stars adaptations, and much, much more. I guess, in a way, just like my hairstyle, Daredevil is being born again, and that's going to lead into today's episode to discuss the brand new trailer of Daredevil Born Again. And this show is probably the most anticipated Marvel show that they've done in a while. As you see there, it says, the devil's work is never done. And we got a nice split shot between the Kingpin and Daredevil, played by Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox, respectively. And I think this show has so much substance that we could dive into today, and I think it's going to be killer. But before I forget, we are joined today behind the scenes by Evan, Kent, and Carson. So thank you guys so much for being here. I think it'll be a fun episode for us all to discuss because I know we're all huge fans of Marvel, and this show, like I said, is going to be the most anticipated one they've done in a while. So without further ado, let's break down this trailer. So this trailer that we had, I can't obviously show it because it's a little too gruesome, but we do have a lot of photos here, and there's a lot of stuff that's worth note, especially Matt Murdock and the Kingpin, their relationship there, Wilson Fisk. They did have a full-on meeting in a diner that I thought was interesting. It's cool to see these two grounded like that. And at this point, Wilson Fisk is the new mayor of New York, and they've already established that, just jumping straight into it. And I think it's cool to see Matt Murdock, I guess, I don't want to say like just a normal guy because he's never going to be a normal guy, for being honest. So it's cool to see Matt Murdock in his Laura uniform coming face to face with the Kingpin there. I know later on in the trailer we also saw some more cool action shots that I could not show, but we did see a lot of gore and gruesome stuff. You know, we did see one guy get thrown in front of a train at one point, which is like, ooh, Marvel's really going for it here. Have a nice shot there of the original gang. We got oh man, Foggy, I think that's his name, if I'm not mistaken, and Karen. That's the gang. My Daredevil knowledge, by the way, stems back to the Ben Affleck movie. I didn't actually watch the original show, believe it or not. Only seen a couple episodes. I know, it's like a run-on joke in my like Durham college career that as a student I never watched the show. As a worker, I've never seen the show, and it's just, I have 2 months to watch it, less than that now, to get caught up for Born Again. But I do like that the original cast is back because those are the same actors that played them in the first rendition of this kind of story. speaking of returning cast too, we also saw in the trailer the return of Frank Castle, John Bernthal. He's back as the Punisher, which I think is amazing, by the way. Yeah, I like that he has a nice beard, a bit. He has, I don't want to say longer hair, but he definitely has longer hair than he did before, from what I can tell. So I think that's pretty cool. A friend of mine has actually met John Bernthal. Shout out to Taryn. He met him at Fan Expo, and I think he had a similar look there as well. So a lot to unpack from this trailer. And I think just going off of these three things so far, it's definitely like a more grounded universe than what we've seen recently with Marvel. There's probably not going to be no space adventure, no multiversal exposure. I highly doubt there's going to be an incursion caused by this. So it's good to be back to the streets. And I think the biggest question that was finally answered from this trailer was, is this going to be a continuation from the original Daredevil series? Now, I myself haven't watched it. I do care about it, and I do like, clearly I like it if I have these pop figures. However, we do have some people behind the scenes that actually have seen the show and do enjoy Daredevil. So coming back to you guys behind the scenes, are you guys excited that this is kind of following that original show? What do we think? We're going to come to Kent.
So I have a lot of conflicted thoughts about this. On one hand, because it's been like a couple of years since I saw the original series, right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, the original series is kind of like connected to, you know, the Defender series, the original Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., basically kind of everything tied to like those Netflix original series that Marvel just hasn't addressed in like almost 15 years.
Yeah, literally.
Especially since, like, if we're also going to be talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we're also going to have to acknowledge the fact that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they also kind of had a copy of the Darkhold prematurely,
Yeah,
which I'm
they
not sure
did.
if you're aware of, if you saw the series or not.
That was like I actually did watch that as it was happening. So
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So I guess my biggest question about the, continuation of the series, which as awesome as it would be, and I'm happy to see Frank Castle, I'm happy to see Charlie Cox as Daredevil again. I'm just kind of, and we've talked about this before, but I'm wondering, like, what would be the time frame for this series, right?
Yep.
Would it be pre-blip, post-blip, during the blip? That's kind of right now my biggest thought process as well, too, because when we see a lot of, like, more grounded stuff back on the streets again, like we did with, the Hawkeye series, for example, it was kind of, like, just after the blip, maybe like a couple of weeks or maybe a month after.
Yep.
So it's interesting to see where they would go with that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely some good insight there. I do think that in terms of what Daredevil is able to bring to the Marvel universe in the comics and animated and live action, it's just a different take on the superhero world. And I think it's such a unique take because, well, off rip, Daredevil himself is blind. I think we knew that. So he's a superhero that doesn't have his sight. And I think right off rip, he's such a cool character to invest in because he's just at a disadvantage right off the bat. And I think it's cool to see like him get the limelight in his own movie back in the day, whether you liked it or not. I thought it was cool. Quick pin in that. I just want to address this too. As you guys should know by now, my favorite color is red. I just love Daredevil because he's red. That's how it stemmed for me. So I love the Ben Affleck movie because, again, he's wearing red. I thought the suit was amazing. I like Batfleck as well. So yeah, just going to point that one out. Also, too, that he ended up getting a couple animated cameos in the last couple years, too, with X-Men 97, and we will be seeing him in Spider-Man, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which is confirmed now, so that's pretty cool. And to get his own show the way he did, which then led to spin-off shows like Kent mentioned momentarily, and to see him finally in the big screen when he made his debut in Spider-Man No Way Home, it's such a cool character to invest in because clearly Marvel is investing in him as well. I'll go to Carson on this. Carson, do you have any other thoughts, I guess, on Daredevil Born Again based off of the trailer? Have you watched the trailer? What do we think?
So I haven't watched the trailer. I like to stay away from trailers.
Yep,
I'm
that's
actually
fair.
kind of in your boat. I haven't even seen the original series on
Let's go.
Netflix. But like, if I know anything about Daredevil, is his tie-ins with the Midnight Suns.
Yep.
I'm just gonna hold out until I get my boy Ghost Rider. But now that Daredevil is going to be part of the MCU and not just the darker Netflix Marvel TV shows, 100%. If you know, you know. But the I'm Not Daredevil Christmas sweater is going to be making it to the big screen. I'm calling it right here.
I really hope it does. It was so funny because just because he brought it up, I have actually a Funko Pop figure and it's Matt Murdock and he has that on. I couldn't find it before I left. I was trying to find it, but I'm like, it doesn't really fit the aesthetic. But yeah, Carson, I'll send you a photo of that for sure. I think, just going back to Daredevil, I think that he's a character that has the ability to kind of bring Marvel back. And I think like we're definitely going to be discussing on that point later on in the episode. But I think he does this thing where off rip, I don't really know how you don't like Daredevil, in my humble opinion at least. His origin story is pretty cool, you know? Like I mean, like this part isn't cool, but like he has a dad that like, you know, is a boxer. He can't really make it, so he does shady stuff just to help his son. And eventually he gets like a big offer where he finally gets a chance to take a loss and get a huge, I guess like a huge payday. That's what we'd call it in this case. And his son's there ringside, and he can't see him anymore, unfortunately, after the accident. And he just abolishes that, knocks the guy out, just so his son could hear his dad be called a winner. And I think like when that's who he's fighting for, and that's like the stem of his origin, that's really cool to me. Like I don't know how anyone could see that and not like that. And that this is with Charlie Cox's adaptation, because I have seen the origin at least. So I think that when you get him to come back to Disney, or I guess going to Disney, sorry, we get him in a new kind of realm. Was the writing going to be good enough? Was the show going to be as gory? Were the villains going to be meaningful? Because again, you got Wilson Fisk, you had Crossbones. Was it Crossbones in the other one, or was it? No, Bullseye. See, it's my knowledge coming from just Daredevil lore. Elektra was in it as well. So it's like, when you have a show that could do all that, how do we give it to Disney? Well, Disney now has it, and the trailer looked gory. Like I said, I couldn't play it. We also have a couple new characters that I want to dive into. So the trailer did introduce us to White Tiger and Muse. Now, this is pretty interesting to me because I'm not too knowledgeable on either character. Here we have White Tiger, and we do want to start with him. So I don't know that much about this character, but I do know that White Tiger, similar to Black Panther, is like a title. It's a mantle that's passed down, and is usually a girl. I've seen a lot of people online, their first depiction of White Tiger is a female, and I think Marvel's kind of doing this thing where like I guess we're giving female roles to dudes and dudes roles to women. I don't know why, but like it is. I don't really have any thoughts except that I really love the character design. It actually reminds me a lot of the Cincinnati Bengals alternate jerseys, because it's a white jersey with like some tiger print that's in black, and it looks very similar to that. I actually have the jersey too, so like follow me on Instagram and you'll see it. So with that being said, I do like the design. I think it's amazing. I think that necklace around their neck, I think that's what gets passed on. It is called the White Tiger Amulet, and it's passed down to whoever is mantling the White Tiger alias. And yeah, it's usually character's name is Ava Alia. Again, doesn't mean a lot to me because I don't know too much. I'm gonna come back to the guys here now. Do you guys have any pre-existing knowledge on White Tiger? Do you have any like expectations for White Tiger?
To be honest with you, no. This is actually kind of one of the first instances where I'm actually hearing the name White Tiger. I don't know if it's just a lesser known, I guess, name, or if it's more associated with Daredevil or not. I'll be completely honest with you. I'm actually not that familiar about this one.
Okay, that's totally fair. Kent and I are in the same boat. Carson, are you in the same boat as well? Or are you going to be you're going to give us the gospel?
Not in the same boat, but I also
great.
don't know too crazy much. My knowledge more or less comes from, it was either The Amazing Spider-Man or The Spectacular Spider-Man show, where he was teaming up with White Tiger, Nova, Iron Fist, and Power Man.
Oh, yeah.
That cartoon series. And that, oh my God. That, and I think that was like even collaborating with Hulk Agents of Smash, so when that was coming out. But it's going to be interesting how the MCU is going to do it, because I'm fairly confident in my knowledge of, I'm pretty sure there can be more than one active White Tiger.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure there has been times where there has been. Did you say her name was Aaliyah or?
Alia, yeah.
Alia, I'm pretty sure there have been times where Alia and I believe it's her brother or her dad are sharing the mantle at the same time that I've seen.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
It'll be interesting to see how the MCU goes from there.
So just a backpack off of that. Thank you, Carson, for that. I think that this show then could open up the opportunity that we get multiple White Tigers in one. Now, I didn't watch Black Panther 2, but I'm pretty sure there was more than one Black Panther in that movie. Do I get a boom or a doom for that? Do you guys know? Yeah, can we get... I think so, maybe.
Sorry, did you say Black Panther 2?
Yeah.
So, technically, no. Like, actually, technically, there's only, like... technically no Black Panther up until the end.
Oh, I'm getting I'm like in the middle from Carson there. So running off of that point, the fact that we've seen it in a movie or a concept of it, maybe we actually get it in fleshed out, like Carson mentioned. It would be pretty cool to see, because some of the powers listed here is that the White Tiger's amulet grants Ava Alia enhanced strength that goes up to class 10, speed, stamina, coordination, agility, durability, endurance, and the mastery of martial arts. So in terms of fist fighting, you're probably not gonna win. So it's gonna be cool to see White Tiger team up with Daredevil and see who they're gonna have to take down, who they're gonna fight, the psychological aspect of it, who's gonna take a hold of the amulet. There's gonna be a lot. So I'm excited for that character and see how we can flesh them out. Moving on to now, the next character I wanted to discuss was Muse. Now, Muse we see in the trailer here. It's a great shot of Muse. I can't lie. It looks pretty cool. And we do know that Muse and Daredevil are going to come to odds. They are going to fight. And it's going to be pretty cool. Now, Muse, I also don't know much about, but I'm going to read a summary of them. Is that this website says that Muse is a serial killer artist who plans shocking mass murders, abductions, and torture as means of creating his quote-unquote art, converting them into works of street graffiti. Now, off rip, I'm very excited for this if they do this right. This kind of character, serial killer, reminds me a lot of Paul Dano's The Riddler from the Batman. If we're going to get a serial killer supervillain, we've seen it done with DC a couple years ago, and I think Marvel's take on it has to be good. Like, just looking at him there, he looks menacing. I don't even think his character suit or villain suit has much substance on it besides what I think is depicted as blood in paint, which I think is awesome. So coming back to you guys now, what do we think about Muse? Or what can you guys tell us about Muse that I didn't say?
So to be completely honest with you, I'm kind of like, I'm 2 for 2 now. I don't know a lot about Muse either. But considering, especially since we can't play the trailer because it can get too gratuitously gory, and you basically give me the implication that he's like nearly a serial killer superhero.
Yep.
I'm pretty confident that they can get pretty violent with him.
Yep, I'm with you. I think another cool thing, by the way, just to point out from the comics, is that Muse and Daredevil have came to odds before. And I think that's a big thing about it. You know, you want to stay consistent. You don't want to introduce characters to fight characters just for the sake of. And I think Marvel hits it, I guess. I always get this statement confused. So it hits the nail on the head. Is that what it is? I think they hit the nail on the head with this, and I think it's cool that they introduced Daredevil to a more niche-ier kind of villain that he could fight, and I think it'll be pretty cool. I really liked how Spider-Verse did this with the Spot. You know, my dad, he grew up in the 90s, and he knows the Spot from back then. I don't know the Spot at all because so I thought it was cool that they could go to the roots and put Spider-Man in a situation versus the Spot. The same way, Daredevil and Muse, again, I like Daredevil. I've never heard of Muse before, but it turns out there's a lot of lore there. So when you go into the Marvel database, they say this about Muse, is that Muse was a mysterious this is a crazy description, sorry. Muse was a mysterious, deranged artist whose gruesome work of art was discovered after he anonymously sent the vigilante Blindspot the address of a warehouse in Washington Heights, where he had planted it. Oh wow, that was a terrible reading of that. This work consisted of a mural painted with blood from over 100 different missing people. Wow, that's a crazy entry in the Marvel database there. And I really think that really sums up what I want to see from this character. Give us something gruesome like that, please. I'm begging for it. And I just want Disney to really just show us that they still mean business and show us that this villain could really, like, I guess, bring fans back in or bring fans to the show. His first appearance was actually only in September of 2016 as well, so it's a fairly new character. You know, when you're less than 10 years old, you're new to me, especially in this Marvel Comics kind of world. So it is pretty cool that he's less than 10 years old and he's already getting a live-action adaptation. Yeah, there is, also according to Marvel Database here, there is, wow, he has like less than 30 appearances in the comics. So again, fairly new character. So I am very intrigued to see how that goes. Carson, coming back to you when you have a second there. Are you excited for Muse based off my kind of description of him, or where's your head at with that?
So I don't really know too much about Muse. I know of Muse. When I kind of first heard about him like a few years ago, I had heard, because I'm not the biggest DC guy, but I had heard many people using comparisons between him and one of Batman's villains, Onomatopoeia.
Oh, word, okay.
I believe it's one of Batman's villains, which is how like psychotic they are. So I don't know much about Muse, but I know of the guy, and yeah, I'm just excited for the more gruesome stuff that we could probably get from him.
Yep, amen to that. So I think in terms of the new characters, that's all we really have to add with that. You're just going to have to watch the show and find out. But I did want to spin back to Daredevil. So there was a point that I did make, and I was like, Daredevil is the kind of character that could bring Marvel back. And I think there's a lot of indications that this could be true. Now, one of them that I think really stands out to me as not just a fan of Daredevil, but just a fan of superhero shows in general, are the different suits that this trailer showcased. So I did get this nice photo of the mask that we have here. And I just think this, oh my God, this alone. Let's regain. So the last 3 times that we've seen Daredevil is we saw him in his own show. Or sorry, I lied actually. We saw him in Spider-Verse as Matt Murdock. We then see him in She-Hulk with the yellow suit. We then see him in X-Men 97 in the red suit. And we will be seeing him in Spider-Man, and Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, sorry, in the black suit. Now, this kind of has a little bit of everything going on here. And I think, and like just to kind of monologue, and so you guys can understand my point, is that Marvel is doing this to me commercially. Because now we're going to have a conversation of what is your favorite Daredevil suit. Is it the classic red? Is it the revamped yellow? Is it the cool nod to Shadowlands with the black suit? Is it the more stealth silver suit? And I think it's such a smart play by Marvel commercially because I think that alone is a conversation. We could watch Daredevil Born Again episode 3 and he has the black suit. Oh my God, it was so cool how he moved. Fast forward 2 episodes later and he's like, you know what? Puts on the yellow cowl. And I think the way this helmets look in this, it just indicates to me that the suits are going to look so cool. We did see the aforementioned yellow suit in She-Hulk, and we also, well, we know what the red suit is as well. So it's going to be cool to see those kind of come back and see how they affect the story. The Shadowland one, actually, before I touch on Shadowland, I do want to ask you guys behind the scenes, did you guys like seeing the different helmets, or did this not really mean a lot to you guys?
I loved seeing this, to be
Amen.
completely honest with you. We were actually just saying now that I specifically would be a little bit crushed if we didn't see him at least try on each suit through the series.
Yeah, amen to that. I think just elaborating on that point, before I dive into one of my favorite suits, which would be the Shadowlands black suit, we did see him in She-Hulk with the yellow suit. And I know we could showcase that soon. We also do see the red suit. Well, the red suit he always has, I feel like, that's like the standard Daredevil look. I feel like, so when he had this yellow suit, I loved it. I'm like, this is a modern take on the classic suit. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I know a lot of people didn't, but I always wanted to see Charlie Cox don the yellow. And I think even the one that we get in Born Again is a bit different. I don't think it's going to be the same. It's going to be more traditional to the comics. And then the aforementioned red suit, it's the classic. It's the number one that you want to go to. I think the red suit for me is, I don't know if I want to call it my favorite because obviously red is my favorite color, but it's the iconic one. It's what everyone grows up with. If you read a Daredevil comic, then you've seen it. Fun fact for you, Daredevil actually fought Namor the Submariner, and Namor, that was his first ever appearance, and that's an iconic cover in the comics, and the Daredevil's rocking that suit. And I think too, like switching back to other ones such as the Shadowlands one, that story is where Daredevil kind of goes from a vigilante to a villain. They're not going to do this because it's not called Daredevil Shadowland. However, in that adaptation, he does kill Bullseye, rocking the black suit. So it's cool that they even have that black suit in the trailer because maybe that's going to signify that, maybe Charlie Cox and Matt Murdock is going to have to go a bit bold here, maybe put on that black suit and do some things that, he didn't really want to do as Daredevil, didn't really want to do as, the masked vigilante of Hell's Kitchen. So I definitely want to see like the contrasts to suit to action, if that makes sense. What do you guys have to say about that? Do you guys think the suits are going to affect his mood overall in the show, or do you think it's just going to be aesthetic wise? What do you guys think on that?
Well, just to continue my point from earlier, if he does happen to have a situation that requires each and every individual suit, I think that would be beneficial.
Yep.
As well as the fact that, it would also give him a chance to really flex all those suits, despite the fact that, I will even admit the yellow suit was my least favorite because I kept calling him mustard ketchup Daredevil. But Carson also made a really good point as well, too, if he'd be willing to share that as well, too, earlier about the suits. You were saying that
He
you were.
doesn't even know.
Sorry, you want me to speak for you? He was saying that, like, when I said that I would love to see him try on each and every one of the suits or have a situation that requires it, he was saying, but it would probably also be better if he had a situation where he just got absolutely beaten and then required, like, a suit change as well, too, just to kind of set the tone for the show.
Yep, that's a good point. I do want to elaborate as well on the black suit specifically. So, if you guys so kindly, I do want to showcase this pop if we can. Do you think we could come back to me instead of... Well, we'll get there when we get there. But I will say, though, that the black suit, I think they're pushing now because it is going to be in Spider-Man. I keep saying Spider-Man Friendly Neighborhood. It's Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. But, like, this one's pretty cool. And I think they're really pushing this one right now. And, again, I really like it. And I'm not saying it to be like, oh, my God, look, my favorite suit's getting showcased. Why would they put this in the Spider-Man show? So I definitely think they're pushing the narrative that Daredevil could look more than just like, you know, the Red Devil. Thank you guys so much for that, by the way. And I'm excited to see what happens. I don't think we're going to get Shadowland's Daredevil in the show. I don't think that would really make any sense. However, I do want to see him beat someone down gruesomely while rocking that black suit. So that's, yeah, I think that's going to do it for us today. I just want to make it a quick and short episode kind of to get straight to the point on this because we haven't seen the show yet. Not really too much to say. I didn't want to drag it on. So thank you guys so much. Before we fully close it out, Kent or Carson, anything else you wanted to add before we go, or what do we think?
Just kind of back to the suits and how you were saying it's 100%, you know, they could market it, what Daredevil suit's your favorite. That makes so much sense. And
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% because that's more or less what they did with Iron Man.
Yeah.
Look how many, and Spider-Man, yeah. But look how many times Iron Man got beat movie to movie just for the next movie. It's a new mark. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so they're definitely, they know what they're doing with the costume side of things.
Yep, amen to that. Before we fully go, I did also want to read out some submissions. So I did put a poll on my Instagram, and I'm like, you know what? Daredevil Born Again will be blank. And I want to see what people had to say. So these are my favorite responses. So shout out to my boy Jack. He says, Daredevil Born Again will be as good as the original, but people online will be blinded by the nostalgia and hate on it. That's a good take. I can't say it's a bad take, but the trailer does look promising. Someone else said... Carson, oh my God, sorry, I don't know what that was. That Daredevil Born Again will tease Ghost Rider for the MCU. I would like that. Honestly, if we did see that, it's a good take from you, Carson. I think it'll be cool to see who else they could add. We know the Muse, we know White Tiger. Let's see what else they could give us. So that's a good take. And my boy Dante, shout out to Dante. He says Daredevil Born Again will be even more brutal than any season of the Netflix show. So I think those are some good takes to end it off there. Thank you guys again. Behind the scenes can do it without you guys. Thank you guys so much. To everyone watching, thank you guys so much for watching Screen Chat. It's been fun as always. And you guys already know the vibes. It's Friday. FNF Friday. You know the vibes. It's just not 95 degrees outside, though. It's like properly cold. It's been one of the coldest weeks of my life. So I'm staying inside, I'm staying inside. We're not going outside. We're not on roads. But thank you guys so much. And remember, guys, this weekend is going to be huge. I know this is a pop culture show and I'm rocking a hockey jersey, but we do got the NFL semifinals. We do got the Bills and the Chiefs. I just want to say one thing. Josh Allen, if you could hear me, please save me. Please save me, Josh Allen. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Justin. This has been Screen Chat. We will see you guys next time live from the Media Hub on riotradio.ca.